Hello and welcome to this special episode of E-Inspiration here on India Today Television. And today my guest, arguably the greatest batswoman for India ever, perhaps one of the greatest in the world, Mithali Raj. Welcome. And this is a special occasion to talk to you. Women's cricket is resuming in India in a big way. First, the Women's T20 Challenge in the UAE. Then the Indian team will travel to Sri Lanka for a series of T20s and 50-over contests. So finally there is a roadmap and a clear one. Your first thoughts?
Well, I'm definitely quite excited because cricket is resuming for all the women cricketers, and I think it's a good preparation, I would say, for the next season or the next year, getting the Women's IPL get going, and also the Sri Lanka bilateral series that we are going to play against Sri Lanka. So I think both the series, both the tournaments will give us match time. All the women cricketers are actually preparing very hard. We've been working past 1 month. We did have a chat about my training, and I've also resumed my skill training at the same time, even my physical fitness. So I think it is a good time to start. All of us are looking forward for getting some matches underway, and a good preparation even for young players, for seasoned players. We are all looking forward for the WIPL and the Sri Lanka series.
Mithali, the viewership for the WIPL will be huge. In fact, BCCI officials tell me that the final they want to do it on the 9th and not the 10th because they think this is a TV event by itself. That tells you how much women's cricket has moved on in India. The progress in India, that is heartening, and you have been at the core, you have been at the center of this progress. Talk to me about that, the importance of television viewership, which will be massive in the UAE for these girls.
Well, yes, I would say that BCCI has, for BCCI, I think women's cricket is definitely a priority, because hosting WIPL in such difficult times, and that itself reflects that they want to have this they want to have the continuity going from the last edition to into this year. And even though we will miss out on few good world-class players, but I think it will give an opportunity for young players and a lot of uncapped domestic players to get some matches. And I think in another 2 years' time, I see that it is a platform that probably will have a full-fledged women's IPL too. So I think somewhere hosting women IPL and giving us a prime time, giving us a venue to play, it in itself reflects that BCCI is pushing forward or giving women's cricket the kind of priority that we women cricketers need, and also getting these bilateral series going in on the whole. I think I don't see that we are not looked after. We are well looked after by BCCI, and the players definitely are looking forward for playing in UAE, because I've seen all the matches. I've been watching all the matches after the pandemic. All of us are looking forward for some live action on television, and I've seen how the viewership skyrocketed with the men's IPL, and I'm sure that if the matches are televised, maybe yes, and at some point we players are coming from a big hiatus where good 3-4 months of break. Probably we may not be at our best, but definitely we are preparing to give our best and put up a great show, so that there is this continuity into the next season of IPL, and probably in a couple of years' time maybe a full-fledged franchise sort of IPL for women in India.
Yeah, that is actually my next question, that you talk about the women's IPL, a full-fledged one, and that's what the ideal situation is, the dream is. I mean, 87,000 people in that final in March at the MCG was massive for the sport. India made the final. 2017, 27,000 at Lords under you, another massive final. Do you think we are now ready for a full-fledged IPL, in the sense a 6-franchise tournament, a 4-franchise tournament, an 8-franchise tournament? Give me a sense of the depth of the women's game in India, because you are ringside, you are backstage. So give me a sense. I mean, what should a full-fledged IPL be like? Is it, according to you, 8, 6, 5, 4? What kind of number of teams are you visualizing?
See, we are already feeding in 3 teams now, last edition as well as now we are having 3-team tournament. So maybe I'm looking at 6 teams. You can relax a bit of the rule of feeding in overseas players, maybe for the first edition, but as the editions goes by, you can change the rules. But to start off, I think 6 teams with good players from around the globe and having your best domestic players, I think that should be the I personally feel that should start the whole franchise thing with good 6 teams.
You know, coming to you now, you've been training for a month. I've been following your training schedule in Bangalore. You've achieved almost everything except maybe that little that's silverware, the World Cup trophy in your hand. Is that still the motivation? Because at this age, otherwise you're already an icon, every box ticked. You've got all sorts of records in your kitty. What is the inspiration? And tell me a little bit about this training process. I mean, to move from Hyderabad to Bangalore in the middle of a pandemic, train alone, stay alone, train alone, tells you how determined and committed you are. Give me a sense into your training schedule and what keeps motivating you.
Well, honestly, when the World Cup was scheduled in 2021, that is next year, February, March. So before the pandemic, yes, I had a sort of a pathway, the kind of preparation that I would put into with the England tour and the IPL and everything going for us. We had good 3-4 series scheduled before the World Cup, and suddenly when with the pandemic, nobody expected the kind of situation we were in, and with the lockdowns and stuff like that, there was a lot of uncertainty in the initial period of the lockdown. And then when the news came of postponing the World Cup, I was kind of expecting it, because the sort of situation we were in, it would be very unfair to have a global tournament like that, where the players are not in the best of training session. So I feel that postponement of the World Cup has given me some time to train. And as you rightly said, yes, at some point I wanted to start training, because 2022 World Cup, One Day World Cup is my goal. And again, I came back to sorting out, like, how do I as a player prepare myself good 1.5 years. The lockdown actually gave me a lot of time where, physically it gave me time to, recover from the niggles that I had for years. And I was in a way, I was in a good space where I started to write down the things that I would like to do or prepare for the World Cup, because whenever that happens, I should be in the best of my form physically and mentally, so that I can give it that one best shot. And yes, I took a risk of traveling to Bangalore. I hired a trainer and a coach, so that I spoke to them. I wanted to have a team of experts where they are working on my training, on my physical fitness. At the same time, I'm able to work on my skill. And with the growing demands of this sport, women's cricket has grown a lot from where I have made debut in '99 till today, from say scoring 150 and chasing 300 plus in the last edition of the One Day World Cup. So I can't stick to the same sort of game plan which I had earlier. I have to keep improving, keep evolving as a player. So I need some people to help me out, and there have been a lot of people in terms of physios, trainers, coaches, mentors, all these years who are in the backdrop, but they've made me the player that I am. And I believe that when I wear the blue jersey, it demands me to be the best that I can on that day for my country, for my team. And that is something I've always believed in, and that is something I've always worked for years, and that keeps me going.
This is a question I've got to ask you. I know it might sound a little critical. On the one hand, we are told age is just a number. On the other hand, for some people, we keep saying, oh, you know what, he or she is past her prime or his prime, and it's a problem. Can you tell me now, compare yourself, say 2017 to now. Do you have to work harder? what happens? I mean, as a batsman, for example, or a batswoman, for example, do you lose that microsecond, which makes it more difficult? Give me a sense, Mithali. Take me backstage. Make me understand what age does to a batswoman of your caliber. Or does it not do anything at all with the advancement of sports science? Give me a candid answer.
Well, honestly, even I'm trying to figure out why people give so much importance to age. At some point, I would be honest that, even I thought as you age, there will be some, lapse in the way you pick a delivery ball to you at a good pace, or your footwork slows down, because that's what was told to many people, to many players who age, and by many coaches or whoever it is. And even I thought in 2017, I was like, okay, I'm 34. I think it is time that this is my last World Cup, because I pretty much told it on air that this is my last World Cup, and I decided, okay, let me play another 2-3 series and then call it. But as I continue to work on my fitness, because I've started training on fitness way back in my 20s. Of course, back then we didn't have the sort of knowledge about how we have to train specific to our sport. But over the years, with my trip to NCA, often I used to be in NCA training, and my interaction with the trainers, with the physios and the experts there, with the batting coaches, with various people who come in that setup, I've learned a lot. I've got a lot of knowledge interacting with so many people. And when I decided, like, okay, let me play another year, and I worked on my fitness, on my footwork, on understanding how better I can be as a cricketer, better than my last year or last season. There were so many other sort of training mechanisms have come into place in the last 4-5 years, thanks to T20 and the way the men cricketers train. I've seen it firsthand in close quarters. I started to put in those training sessions into my own sessions. I tried to get those things, those concepts into my training session, and I realized it started to help me. I started to see small changes. I've also done small adjustments. To be very honest, I've changed a few techniques, few adjustments in my stance or in my grip, to see that I'm more in a space where I can play freely. And also the interaction with men cricketers, like I remember this interaction with Sachin in 2018. Before I went to South Africa, we had an interaction with him in Bombay, and I asked him, I said, you've been in my place, how did you prepare? A lot of people say that we tend to slow down in our decision making or in our footwork. How did you train? So he gave me few suggestions, what he did and what he would recommend. I started to do that, and there was a lot of positivity in terms of my game, and that in return has given me confidence to push on another year. Because I started to perform, I still score runs, the team is doing well. So I said, okay, let me give another 1 year, and so forth. I've come so far, and now in the last 4 years, I have seen how much I have worked on my physical training, which helps me to be light on the ground. And that is what today I'm working on with my trainer and the coach, how I can get my fitness training to sort of sync with what I do on the ground. Ultimately, you want to be lighter, you want to do well for your team. So that is something I've been working on.
No, it's terrific to hear. And it's terrific to see India ranked number 2 in the world in the ODI rankings. That coveted number 1 spot 2017. We were 9 runs close. In this year's T20 edition, we had come close again, except that bad final. We've come close many a time, and that Indian dressing room, it's such a joy. There's Mithali Raj and Jhulan Goswami. There's Shefali Verma, who wasn't even born when you started playing cricket. There are some middle level, around mid-20s, Ashmriti Mandhana, and so you've got all kinds of age, you know, all kind. It's actually India. It's a motley conglomeration of India from all parts of the country, all age groups. How do you keep that flock together, Mithali? There were differences of opinion some years back. Under W.V. Raman, how is it? Give me a sense of that Indian dressing room. Are you and Harman and Smriti and Jhulan all one? Are there still differences? Those differences doesn't matter when you go into the ground. You are captain, so you've got a huge responsibility for that World Cup in 22. Give me a sense of the Indian dressing room.
Well, see, you know, who thinks that, you know, when we have a team of 15 members, including the support staff, you can't have everybody on the same page. Unless I'm talking about in terms of how you have your mental setup and things like that, because everybody have a role to play in the team, and not necessarily everyone have to be the best friend of each other. As long as we have the communication going, we have one vision where as a team we are working towards, and we all know in a professional setup and a professional sport, it demands that we need to have a very professional approach. When we get onto the team, we know we stand together. We are one unit, because I know say Jhulan Goswami, she is a top class bowler. Her importance plays a huge role. She carries a lot of experience. Harmanpreet Kaur. Harman has been a terrific player for India. Her knock of 170 definitely has turned. She has been match winner for us. Smriti has been a match winner for us. So I guess everybody, if we all understand our roles as individual players in the team, and together we come and play as a team. That is the reason why I think the one day team has done so well. From 2017, we won seven series of ICC championship. Why? How did that happen? It happened is because we understand the importance of each one of us in the team. And as a captain, I keep the communication going. I think that is one of the important things, that you know, you keep the communication going. And my objective as a captain is to pick the 11 which wins matches. I want to pick the best.
That's how it should be. You know, that's how it should be, Mithali.
And I can't think of anything less.
Correct.
Yeah.
Mithali, tell me something. How is Tapsi Pannu shaping up to play Mithali Raj? What are your takeaways? Is Shabash Mittu on track, and why did you opt for Tapsi Pannu? Because, you know, and give me a candid opinion. Don't say great things about her or bad things about her. Give me a sense of how Mithali Raj is being portrayed on screen.
Well, see, the script is in place. Yes, because of the pandemic, they could not start the shoot. It probably will be delayed a little bit, but I guess she started to train, and that is a good thing, because acting is something that she's known for, but she needs to work a little more harder in terms of the cricket skills that she requires to portray on the screen. So I told her one thing. I said, you will manage everything, but that is one thing that you have to put a lot of hard work is on the cover drive, because a lot of people know that that is my bread and butter, and that is something I've played all through my career, and I have a sort of a style for my cover drive. So you need to work on that. So she told me that, you know, you've straight away you've put so much of stress, and you know, I don't know how it would come. I said, I know with training you will definitely develop, but as a person, we are poles apart. She's chirpy, she's energetic, and I'm someone who's quiet, and I kind of you know, observer. So there was a little tension there when we met for the first time, but I think with a bit of communication going, I guess we hit it off. And I'm also definitely looking forward to how, you know, she's going to train for the movie.
Tapsi Pannu, you have a hard taskmaster. I mean, she's rather mistress in the sense she's already talking about cover drives and how you will play this. This is unfair. This is clearly unfair on the part of Mithali Raj. You know, she's saying she's done this for 25 odd years and she's expecting you to do it in what, 6 months. This is completely, I'm with you, Tapsi Pannu, on this one. I really hope you will,
well,
you know, obviously get on top of this, but it's difficult. Yeah, go on. But this is unfair.
Yeah, I said, yeah, we need to be realistic, okay? If someone is going to portray you, so you come very close to the style that's their natural style. So playing a cover drive, that is something has fetched me so many runs, and that is something I've played in every innings of my career. So that would be definitely part of the movie. And I told her, I said, if you don't get that bat the way I get, or wear the floppy hat, people will not relate it to me. So I guess it will be like, okay, Tapsi Pannu is playing a cover drive.
It has to be Mithali Raj playing a cover drive, Tapsi Pannu. Now, this is called pressure. I love this. I absolutely love this. Okay, Mithali Raj, you are captain of India. I mean, you know, Virat Kohli, captain of India, MS Dhoni, captain of India, Rohit Sharma, captain of India, Saurav Ganguly, captain of India, Mithali Raj, captain of India. What's your captaincy philosophy, and what have you imbibed from some of these people? Say a Dhoni, say a Saurav, say a Virat. Do you discuss captaincy? How are you looking at 2022? Because that same question, this will come to you. You fall in the last hurdle, whether it's you, whether it's Harman, whether it's Virat, whether it's MS. In recent times, India doesn't win finals. How do you overcome that problem?
Well, I think as far as captaincy is concerned, everybody have their own style of captaincy. You can't really say, okay, this is the right way to do. There is no such book on captaincy which says that, you know, everybody has to follow a pattern. But yes, as far as my captaincy is concerned, I definitely believe in performing, and that in itself should inspire my own teammates. That's how I thought I thought that would be a captaincy for me. But I've also done a lot of mistakes. I started leading India very young, so I was quite inexperienced in terms of leading a side on the international scene when I got captaincy for the first time. And for me, captaincy, I graduated into captaincies way back in 2013. That's when I realized, okay, captaincy for me is to cut down on all those things, not to give my time to everything what is happening around, but my energy should be completely in building a team. That is something I have realized when I got back captaincy in 2013, and I put my hard work in preparing a team and getting the players together for the 2017 World Cup. Of course, I did have support from the selectors, from the coach, from the support staff. I think that communication is very important in captaincy, because you deal with different players. You can't have one sort of a way of dealing with everybody. You know, you deal differently with a young player, you deal differently with a seasoned player. But I think when it comes to preparing for the World Cups, or if we talk about captaincy from Saurav Ganguly, I think I take his energy, his way of putting across to the team that, you know, this is how I want it. We have to win the game. Whereas Dhoni, yes, he's very cool. He has a lot of strategy in his mind, but at the same time, he gives composure to the team. So a mix of it is what I think I can call my captaincy as. There are times when I'm really pissed off, and I thrash it in the team meetings. But on the ground, I always show that there is composure. That is because when the matches are tied, the players look up to the leader, and at that time I can't lose my composure. Even though there are times when, you know, I was nervous, but I've tried to hide it so that my players can look at me and take a lot of confidence.
Mithali, my time is up, so final question. Some days back, there was a bit of a controversy where, one of your statements was misrepresented, saying that you, almost ascribing it to you, that you thought there was no roadmap for Indian women's cricket on the part of the BCCI. Then when I heard that interview of yours to ICC, it was clearly meant during lockdown. Will you put it to rest finally on this show? The last 1 minute, I've got 1 minute left. Are you satisfied with the board? Are you not? If not, what is the problem? If you are, is the Saurav Ganguly Jai Shah BCCI dispensation doing enough for women's cricket? A straight, candid last answer.
Well, let me put it on record is that statement or the lines were taken from the ICC interview and it was misconstrued. But yes, I will definitely put it here on record saying that BCCI, as I mentioned, for them women's cricket is definitely a priority, because otherwise, WIPL wouldn't have happened. At some point, I thought, like, in difficult times, what is the future in the initial phases of the lockdown? But I've seen they've come up with a WIPL, we have a bilateral series. So how can anybody say that the BCCI is not doing enough? We are playing a bilateral series much before the men's cricket. So that in itself proves that BCCI is taking steps, and not everything should be told in the media. BCCI has been in constant touch with the players. We've been in touch with the support staff. We know what things are rolling ahead for us, what is the future for us. Even during last month back, we had a sports psychologist. So we know the players are in constant touch with the BCCI officials and the support staff. So I wouldn't say that BCCI is not looking. As I clearly said, that was misquoted and misconstrued. It was taken from another interview.
Okay. Got it. I think that settles everything. A lady of many parts, Mithali Raj, your legacy is unrivaled, and I'm putting that on record. Your legacy is unrivaled. You've been a tremendous ambassador of this game. As I said, that last piece of silverware, the cricket gods can't be as unkind to you in 22 as they were in 17. You've been a true devotee of the cricketing temple. So I pray that you get that piece of silverware, because it deserves to be in your house. Mithali, women's IPL almost there. You are training, you will soon be in the United Arab Emirates. But tell me, have you been watching the men's IPL? And when you are watching it, who are the youngsters who have captured your imagination so far?
Well, yes, I've been watching every game of the IPL, and it's been a nail-biting finish most of the time. You do get to know, you can take a lot of inputs from watching these matches. And from Hyderabad, so definitely Sunrisers, the last game that I've seen, when the young lad, Garg and Abhishek have done very well. Honestly speaking, after Williamson's run out, I was like, okay, I don't think Sunrisers will put up a big total, but I continued to watch, and I saw this young player. The way he's scored that innings, he plays that innings, was something to feel good about. And he's not, of course, a lot would be running in his mind, but again, he's never showed it, but he showed it by performing, taking his team to a very respectable total, and I guess that's impressed me. Yeah.
Absolutely. In fact, I tweeted saying he should have sacrificed his wicket for Kane Williamson, and then the sport comes to bite you, and I was made to look like a complete fool with Priyam Garg winning the Man of the Match award. It was great fun to see that youngster do so well. You get to laugh at yourself on occasions. Your colleague Smriti Mandhana tells me on this show that she's become a fan of Sanju Samson for his six-hitting ability. Mithali, who are the other youngsters? You've named Priyam Garg and Abhishek Sharma. Anybody else you want to name? Sanju Samson, for example, has been a revelation. The two fast bowlers, Shivam Mavi, Kamlesh Nagarkoti. Anyone else you want to talk about?
Yeah. Well, I think Sanju has been doing well. Even I remember last edition, maybe he's also scoring runs. And of course, this time around, his batting seems effortless. The way he hits those sixes. Of course, like Smriti, even I've been watching his matches, and it's nice to see batting so effortlessly. And of course, the fast bowlers. It is so difficult to be bowling in those conditions. And these young lads that you've mentioned have been doing well. It only feels like this platform platform is for everybody to showcase their best skill, and for people like us who are watching, I mean, to enjoy. And despite that, not getting an opportunity to watch these matches in the stadium, I think watching them live itself is entertaining.
And let me put you in the spot now. My final question. Royal Challengers Bangalore doing better than what they've done in the last few seasons. Is your friend Virat Kohli finally getting his year? He's going to be a father. Birthday coming up 5th November, close to the IPL final. Is this Virat Kohli's year? Mithali Raj, on the spot.
You've actually put me in a spot, but I guess for him a lot of things have been happening on a personal front, very good things, and I'm sure this will rub off on his professional life too, because when you are in a very happy space, it is very natural for a player to perform, and that's what I feel for him, and I'm sure that he will have the coming season that he will continue to perform.
2 finalists, come on, you've ducked that ball beautifully. I don't want that. My final question, tell me your 2 top teams from the 3 weeks you've seen so far.
I'm trained to duck the balls when the ball.
Come on, give me your 2 top teams. I need to close the show. Give me 2 top teams.
Well, my favorites are Sunrisers, but the top 2 teams would be Rajasthan Royals. They have been doing well, and why do you need top 2 teams? Rajasthan Royals and Sunrisers. Okay. Yes, they won last game, and I'm backing them.
Okay, got it. I'll end it there. Sunrisers and Rajasthan Royals, and she's from Hyderabad, so the loyalty remains firm. David Warner, you've got a friend there. I'll send this clip to David Warner. Thank you very much, Mithali Raj, for joining me.